he was gonna come in person.
What?
He was gonna come in person,
Okay.
so I guess we'll
Open it up.
open it up.
Well, with all of us here, this is the agenda for the select board meeting in the town of Fayston. Here with my fellow select board member, Ron Graves, myself, Mike Jordan, and Patty Passer. No members in public. So we will jump right into our agenda.
The only thing for additions, I do want to add other business, the hazard mitigation plan just needs a signature,
Okay,
so
I saw that. I didn't read it all.
in all your spare time, yeah.
There's a lot of pages there.
All right, so our first order of business is to approve the select board meeting minutes from April 22nd, 2025.
You read them? I'm good with them. I
Good with
moved to
Yeah.
approve the minutes of the April 22nd, 2025.
And I will second that. Oh, is Eve not gonna?
She's watching them
Okay.
Oh,
afterwards.
she
because-
doesn't, because she's in Italy.
Yeah,
still.
time zone. But it's midnight there, so she.
So for additions and deletions, we'll add the hazard mitigation plan signing. Seeing as there's no members of the public here, we will not have any comments. I would propose to put Dale King later in the agenda and see if he has a chance to show up. And we can continue on. So next item of business is the Development Review Board appointments.
Beth and Eve. I guess they voted on them.
Beth Eisenhower and Eve Silverman,
Eve's looking to be the
alternate.
alternate, yeah.
Yeah,
And Beth will have a full seat. She's filling Peter Ludlow's vacant position.
Right. So who was the alternate before? Or were we lacking an
I
alternate?
think we might have been lacking an
Yeah.
alternate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I'm not necessarily familiar with this, so pretty much the board select their board and we just kind of stamp it, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So. do
and I think they had a few people apply and these are the ones that they brought to you guys.
Right. So I don't know, do we need to vote on this?
We
Yes.
need to approve it.
Approve it.
So
Yeah,
We need a
Uh,
motion.
I move to approve the appointment of
Beth Eisenhower.
Beth, last name?
Eisenhower?
Eisenhower to the
Eisenhower.
DRB.
Correct. I would second that.
and then Eve as.
Favor?
And then
I
Eve
would-
Silverman. It's an alternate.
I would move to, approve Eve Silverman as the alternate to the DRB.
I would second that also.
Perfect.
And then,
So I did note that, but I see this happen a number of times. We had a couple, one on the DRB and one on the PC
Yeah.
earlier, when the last, and we have it again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
actually, I think it's not a bad idea, one in the small town.
right.
yeah, there's only so many people that,
Well, I think it gets action.
yeah.
Yeah.
So next item of business is the Conservation Commission's approval of grant.
So yeah, this, they applied for a grant and it needs to be approved by them. But, so you don't have to sign anything, but Sarah, we just talked and said that, to make sure that you guys were aware of it. It's a
It's really-
$700 grant.
It's fairly small, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
700. But just wanted to make sure, because sometimes Sarah was saying that it does have to come through the select board and needs signature, this one doesn't. But we figured just to put it on the agenda so that you guys
Yeah.
knew of it, so.
Yeah. Next item of business is the public festival permit for the September Fest, which is gonna be on September 20th, 2025.
Kind of Mad River.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is that one, so that needs both of your signatures, actually. So there's the town permit, and then her liquor license stuff is in the other one.
You'll sign next time.
Perfect.
We're just cranking through this.
Yeah, I know.
Approval of excess weight permits.
Those things keep on coming, huh?
Mhm.
I'm sure there's a few people don't do them.
Yeah,
They probably just
HB
travel.
hauling.
yep. Probably hard to know, like,
In
would
Rickland
be.
Farm.
if it's a different town, you know, like for people that are,
Yeah.
What is that one? Travel trades.
Yeah.
So you remember, did you see the, they went up Center Fayston like 2 winters ago? Went sideways
Oh, no,
and they don't have an excess weight permit.
no. So we don't, it's kind of funny, we don't, we used to use people at travel trades when we did our own stuff. Now you sub it out, keep your labor, so I would have no clue.
Yeah,
Like who, there's a lot of those Cancos, travel trades and
exactly. And they,
Home Depot,
yeah,
you don't see anything in them.
all right.
so
Liquor license.
this is still. Yep.
Well, this is the one that had, we kind of
So-
approved, but they were.
Yes, so that's the first one we have to ratify, which is like Mad River Barn things and.
Lids, yeah.
And then the other ones are the September Fest one-time event. And then there's 2 other Sugar Bush, just the liquor licenses, so. Just have to make a motion
To allow
to,
you to sign.
yes,
Make a motion to approve those 2 liquor licenses.
Second,
perfect.
Aye.
yeah,
And then, perfect, so now it's the other business.
Other business, the hazard mitigation plan.
Yeah, Chris, oh yeah. Kristen, just need your signature there. Man, I thought this meeting was gonna be longer.
we had one once that lasted 20 minutes.
Yeah, the springtime is always the quickest ones, it seems. Right before.
Okay, other than that, it's,
Well, I don't see Dale King. And it's. 26:08.
What is it?
It's only 6:08.
Yeah.
Well, you
We'll
guys
take some time.
So,
read
yeah,
the email, get the
we'll-
no mail,
form.
but
No mail, but we'll sign the warrants.
So I think that, I don't wanna make this worthless too long, but I wanna make sure, we're in the work season, right?
yeah,
If we could just put, maybe a date next to it when it was done, so we're not like. Is we know the new stuff, or somehow signify the new stuff on the list that's done,
for
and I
sure.
think if we could see it every meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because there
Right,
should be
yeah.
stuff done within 2 weeks, there should be something accomplished on that list.
For sure,
Oh, yeah.
which, yes, I mean, I have to, yeah.
Oh, and I
was-
think they are, they're out there, seeing working,
Yeah, they've got only one other, so I talked with Josh today, they only have to do the Boyce Hill culvert. And then that other North Facein culvert that got upsized with the H&H study,
Okay,
and then those are all the FEMA, culverts. And then he said by the end of this week, they'll have all the, small roads that they were using gravel from our pit done. So the FEMA list is looking really good.
yeah, so,
Which is a good,
what was I gonna? Oh, I know, so I forwarded Maddie a quote from Limoges, like, on that back door. I thought we'd wait till Chuck was here, so all
Yeah.
3 of us would see it. And, who's the steel company that you mentioned, what building?
Oh, Minash has a steel.
Menage, because I'm also, I asked my guy Rick at Limoges, it's a family business, and he gave me a name of a steel guy, and I'm just gonna try to drop his name. Just because.
Yeah.
I'm gonna somehow get someone to fix that jam,
Yeah, yeah.
and Rick's telling me that we don't need to, or Mike. Limoges is telling me we don't need to necessarily do that door. They can do that jam without taking that door off.
Oh, really?
I have to look at it again, but he says they can. They do it all the time.
Okay.
And then they'll come back and adjust it,
Yeah, yeah.
make sure it works right. But I think that door actually falls under the amount that we need in RFP.
That's
So
great.
it's a lot less than I thought. I'm used to like fancy overhead doors.
Yeah, not just.
That was like there he is, that scale.
Yeah.
$5,000 or $6,000. What was the limit? Do you remember? 7?
Yeah, I think it might be 75 actually,
Yeah.
So
but
it's under that.
Great,
So anyway, I'm gonna try to keep moving.
cool. That'd be
We're
great
starting to
get
roof
done.
that place on Center Fayston, so my roof will be around. Look at that flashing and we have done to foam it. Oh, I should- We're down here. Oh, yeah. Ron Graves. Ron Graves, come on in. You're not Ron Graves, you were a freaking little kid. How are you?
I'm great, how about you?
Pretty darn good.
I miss your mother.
Yeah,
She had some
I just saw her, I had dinner with her.
Matt.
A week or so ago in Florida, I just got back.
Yeah.
Doing well, yeah.
How's Dick doing?
Pretty good. Give me his back for some.
Well, after digging a ditch by hand for, I'm gonna just sit back and listen, okay?
We are.
I think we're almost
we're-
finished talking.
We're done.
Well, who are these
So,
guys?
I'm Mike Jordan. I'm also on the select board with Ron.
Okay,
This is-
Madison,
oh, I'm not Madison.
yeah, I was gonna say, you remember me.
Yeah,
So we have a real low turnout for this evening.
well,
So
good.
we
It's been,
flew right through the agenda.
Well, here, maybe you can look at my expensive Mark Bannon site plan, spreadsheet system. That I probably would never be able to afford to put in, I don't need it. But what I do need is get this freaking road away from my house. Because lately, you just spent $2,000 to replace the power that got ripped off my house when the guys went by with the dump on it. It's just, my house is a second house on this road. The only one, used to belong, it was a camp that used to belong to the Griffin family. And I bought it in 1976. And it's 15 feet from the road. People drive by, it's dirt. They look inside my windows when I'm watching TV. And I own all this land over here. My son Hank, an easier site plan. Maybe. This is my 5 acres that I originally bought. This is the Shepherd Brook, this is Airport Road. And, in any case, if you guys would just, girls just drive up and look at the mess that's there now, still, it's almost May and there's cones in the road because it's impassable most of the time in the spring. It needs to be redone, ditched, and you can dump all the material on my land. You don't have to truck it anywhere. You can have as much land on the other side as you need. I can put underground power in at the same time and get rid of those overhead wires. And I want to build a new garage. And they're pushing me. Mike Quinville came up and I got to push the garage back to my leach field. And have to build new stone walls and everything just to get to it. When my house, yeah, my house is already there, 15 feet from the road. My garage, they want me to put 45 feet from the center line of the road. It's ridiculous. And especially when.
Who's the DRB or?
Yeah, Jason Wilson said it's really gonna be difficult. You're gonna have to go through an expensive process. And I don't wanna attach to my house, because my house is 3 inches out of square, and I'm not gonna build my new building 3 inches out of square.
It's harder that way.
So if you added on to it, they would probably say it's a non-conforming structure and you can do anything more that's
Right.
not any more non-conforming, is that?
I don't know
Yeah.
how, Vermont is a difficult place.
Each town's different, but I think that's, I mean, I've done it in other towns, it's usually the same.
I did a 9-lot subdivision on 130 acres in Connecticut. And the town loves it because they have no kids in school. They're either homosexual or, they're called dinks, I think. It's,
Double income, no kids.
you're right, yeah, I got, people that bought my house are dinks. And the rest of them, there's 2 dinks, there's 2 homosexual families, and there's 1 that likes everybody.
So I'm just wondering, what's the, it may sound simple, but I'm guessing there's more to moving a town road than I know. And the purpose would be to just give you more,
To make the
To
road.
make the
needs to-
setback.
Yeah, it needs, but the road also needs to be improved. It's the last, it still has got cones up. And when, back when Gregory Viens was the road foreman and my sister's house, Margot Vigiano, was the first house on that road. And Owen Wimbl's grandfather owned it. The house, the road went right by the corner of her house. And the town, at their own expense, moved the road over. And now they have a beautiful area to turn around. Margot's got a valuable house. And it makes sense, and it would make sense if you do it in front of my house. And you build the road properly, so it has proper ditch and drainage. Just talk to any of my neighbors up the road that have to bottom out in mud season. It's the last house, the last road to thaw out in the town of Fayston.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's bad. And, I met Josh. He's I'm very impressed. He had power back on my house the same day that I got ripped off.
we all know that.
Yeah.
You're very well aware of that.
I was drilling the bridge at the bottom when he was going back and forth.
Oh, you were drilling the bridge? Yeah, what a nice bridge. Now, why the hell do we have to pay to put a new one in? It's better than the one that was there.
Yeah.
We're paying for that one
You
too,
could
don't worry.
pay
Oh.
temporary.
And another, is people knocking at the door, wanting to buy Wendy's house that's about to fall into the river, and FEMA won't let it go.
Oh, no, they have. We just, they haven't,
Yeah.
it's in
Well,
the process.
It's in the process,
Yeah.
but people can't move the house.
Why?
It is what,
Until it gets to that point.
yeah.
Well, nothing they could
Until
do
money
too,
change hands, you know?
another thing they could do is just drive some piling in and put in some protection against erosion and just leave it right where it is. They're paying $50,000 for accessory dwellings, and maybe my barn is ready to rent. It's an accessory dwelling, but you know, I'm living on fixed income. I get a kickback from the state. My taxes are like $3,500 a year. When I lived in Connecticut, they were $14,000 between Vermont and my 60 acres in Connecticut that was in open space. So I live on Social Security and what I've managed to save, and I'm doing just fine. And my wife of 56 years is still with me. We just take separate vacations. Just come up and take a look at it.
Yeah, we drive by and take a look. I just don't know, you know. We have a lot of projects. I mean, I just don't know where this stands. I mean, I don't know.
Well, we'd have to get it,
I mean, back in the day when Gregory did it, they could, this is the Wild West, you could do
Yeah.
anything they wanted, you know?
we'd have to get it right of way.
Well, it'd be,
It's my land, you can.
Right, but we
Well,
just
what-
need to go through the process.
yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
folks, I
Yeah,
don't
it's
care, I just don't wanna have to build my house 45 feet from the center line. That is stupid, because I graded it when I had to I wanna put a picket fence up front. Because it's the only thing that'll hold up to the plowing, and I plow myself. And, I mean,
So
Where does Rankin
so
turn into?
we would be
Constable?
talking about moving the road 30 feet,
no, 10,
10, and that's all you need for the setback?
I only need 6 feet for the setback. To get
Oh,
45
because
feet.
where you're gonna put it, because you're
Yeah.
not gonna put it as close as the house, I got it.
Yeah, Mike Quindle came up and him and Ty, somebody measured it, and he said your stake is wrong, you gotta go back to where the 4x4 is. Which isn't 4x4, it's a 6x4, and it's about another 3 foot back.
Yeah,
So this is your house,
Yeah.
and this is your barn apartment?
Yeah, but I don't, it's just my shop. My plan is to put the new garage right even with the end of my house. Now I gotta move it back another 3 feet, and I have retaining walls here, so I'm gonna have to rebuild all my retaining walls to get to we burn wood, so. Anyways, this is, my son Hank's house is right here. Mike plows everybody, and it's unnecessary, instead of this big straight shot, we could have a nice little curve right there. And I could have a nice front yard, and people can walk by without waving at me while I'm watching TV. And the dust in the summertime is horrible.
yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's like that on Route 100.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably worse. But anyways, I have a setback waiver that is being in the paper, Jason's gonna publish, and I have to go. I've got a bunch of neighbors, so I gotta, as you know, I have to send certified, letters to everybody. Nobody's gonna care, I own everything. A tremendous amount of road frontage, I own 50 acres over here. I own all the way to Shepherd Brook, my neighbor is Muriel Griffin, and she's a sweetie. Dennis and these folks that bought Dick Pettit's house. It's just a really nice neighborhood, and now the people drive at a reasonable rate that go by, which is nice.
Yeah.
But back in the day when I worked for Logan and Hines, and Joe Logan was running back and forth at 50 miles an hour. And my kids were trying to ride their bikes, and our pets, we put in water bars, everything we could to slow people down. And my house is devalued because of that road. And the whole neighborhood is devalued because of that road. It's freaking mud. Except when you get up to Margot's house, there's a nice turnaround, and then it's private road all the way up. And they take care of that road at their own expense.
Is that where the class 4 road starts?
Yeah.
Yeah, where that culvert went out.
Yeah.
during the
My-
flood.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
I have steep land with wood. I had it logged by Mike Marino, and I cut in my own wood roads with the heavy soil. I didn't lose anything. The bridge down below went out, the culvert at Margot's went out. The neighbors came down and saved her house because it just overflowed and a river was going down through her yard.
Yeah.
But I was fine. I'm so high up, you can see the elevation. Where are we? Yeah, there's my house. This is a Presby system I had to put in because Mark Ben said first of all, I know it's all gravel down there, and Rob Townsend would have approved it, but Mark knows how to get things done, as you know, through the town, through the state. But this Presby system is in case I ever want to put an apartment in the barn. And I'm thinking about talking to the state about the $50,000 grant And maybe they'll put in a septic system for me.
That's up again.
No, my other septic system's working fine, because it's just my wife and myself. And, we have water saving appliances and everything's fine, but, Kingsbury Construction wanted $52,000 to put this in. And Mike Marino was 31.5. I haven't asked Chris, I'll probably have Chris Griffin do it, because I still have a ton of hemlock and trees on my land. Although Hank, as you know, Hank, got a freaking chip on his shoulder. He doesn't want his bike trails wrecked, but he doesn't own the land. I gave him 5 acres, that's not enough. He got his shit bit when Mike went in there and cut all the trees. It's beautiful now. It's a park. And he's got such a chip on his shoulder. And I was the same way. I knew more than my father. I can remember walking down the road saying, that freaking asshole. And here I am. I said to Hank, I said, Hank, I'm getting a little payback from the way I treated my own man.
That's how it happens.
That's the way it goes.
I can remember Pop saying, we're gonna bury the freaking stumps and we're gonna bury the brush. And he had a 200 Komatsu excavator, and he built marinas, he built housing developments. He was a Depression era guy, with nothing, and he made a really good life and taught me a lot when I got married. He couldn't take the competition between my Kansas girl and my wife. I'll never forget her saying, she got her over there to the house. She says, Pat, why don't you just tell him to listen to me? And then I said, why don't you tell him? And says, well, I will. And I said, I'll never forget this. She says, Pop, if you're gonna make Chip is what my nickname was. You're gonna make, well, she called me Dale. Hank's Dale III.
Yeah.
Dale Senior said, why don't you just tell him to listen to me? And she says, I don't tell him what to do. And besides that, Poppy, he was called. If you make Chip make a choice between you and me, you're gonna lose. And he did. I left Connecticut and never came back until he was dying of cancer, and left me with the biggest mess. But now it's beautiful. It's 130 acres.
So we'll have to clue Chuck in on this.
Yeah,
Chuck's on a fishing trip. The third select board member, so we'll probably do it all on our own. Josh knows what it is, and we'll just have to.
Well, you know,
What we have to do, or if it can be done.
yeah, we'll have to look at it.
the only thing I would ask is that you grant me a reasonable setback of 45 feet. I don't have a problem with putting,
I don't think that we would get involved with that.
it's called a waiver, setback waiver.
Yeah, but that,
Yeah,
Is
that's why you're with Jason and you're doing the DRB hearing.
Yeah,
Right.
they'll,
The select board, the DRB acts on their own.
Yeah, and Jason said, if I try to change that setback, the shit's gonna hit the fan. Which makes no sense to me whatsoever.
And well, in between you and I, Dale, we'll look at this, but I don't see this as anything in the near future.
What's that?
If we were to do anything.
Oh, no, you don't have to.
I'm just saying, I'm
Yeah,
not
'cause
saying
we're
that
just-
we're going to, I'm just saying.
Right.
If it were to do that, we're so, the flood set us back, I would say a few years in a lot of ways. But at least a year or two.
Well, I don't need it done. All I need is a garage. My wife's 75. And she's not gonna scrape windshields and ice. She's got a new Honda with electric seats. And she's gonna have a push button 16-foot door so that she can
Come in and out.
go in and out.
Sideways.
Well, I was gonna,
Luxury.
put in a nice looking 2 9-foot doors, but. On a short run like that. One of us will hit the pillar.
Yeah,
And, why not just,
and if you don't, the plow will.
and not only that, by having this step back, I'm gonna have another 10-foot. Garage underneath, cause I'm putting it on pillars. Like Dick and Marge Pettit, he's got his garage is only 18 feet deep, but he's got this nice area underneath, and I'll do the same thing. But my first estimate for a foundation was $20,000 for a dinky little foundation.
Sounds cheap.
Well, Lou Gendron is a really good guy, and he did a job for me before he had kids and everything. I did Bruce Mabel's garage on a monolithic slab, but I can't do that, a monolithic slab here. But I can talk to Anderson boys who are now, on Duxbury Road, what's their name? Askin.
Oh,
Yeah, and I think I talked to one of the Haskins, he says, oh yeah, that was my father and my grandfather that poured your. I'm working for Brothers and I'm doing all this fancy hypotenuse with squaring up to the end of my house, so my foundation that Anderson put on it, dead square. But my house is 3 inches out, so now I got this. You don't wanna deal with stuff out of square.
No.
And that's why. So anyways, they're just busy, but I'm in no hurry. If I can get this foundation in by June or July. And I'm not having Sheds Unlimited try to deliver a barn or a garage with trusses because they can't get up the road.
Yeah.
And it's chintzy junk anyways, and $3,000 to ship it. And I'll build it, RK Miles is the best lumber yard you can deal with, and all I need is a good framer. That's, will listen to an older man that knows what he's talking about. I just can't pick up a wall anymore. I can't pick up rafters, and my wife won't let me get up on her roof anymore. All right,
All right.
ladies. Why don't maybe you can have a little bit of influence in dealing with Ty and Mike and whoever came out and measured the road and said I had to go back another 3 feet.
Who, somebody must have.
Hi.
Hopefully
Hi,
PRB, PRB.
Mike Quinn.
You get me.
And Mike Quinn.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And I don't think I'm not even gonna apply for the building permit until, what is it, a month from after you get the waiver?
Yeah, I don't know what the waiting period is on that.
No clue.
Yeah, I have to go send out letters and,
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what the rules are really, those kind of rules.
so I hear your mom's really good,
She is.
and that she trained Doug how to use a computer, the computer with. She always amazed me on how smart, and I came in, I can remember when I bought that land from Mel and Neil many years ago, and they were charging me an enormous amount of money for, taxes. I said, Gussie, there's no place you can build on that property. And she said, I guarantee you, Dale, there is. And sure enough, my son's got a beautiful house right across the street. And she was right. And now today with these Presby systems, and
yeah, you can put it
you
in.
can put them almost anywhere. So, she was a sweetheart, Gussie, great.
All right, I'll tell her you said hi.
I always charm her anyways,
I call her.
when I see her. And I knew your old man when he was smoking, chain smoking in the office,
Yeah.
and Dick stuttering, and he had me working for $3.25 an hour, going all the way up to Burlington with Stubb Sherman and,
I did the same thing.
yeah, doing Red Rocks.
Yeah, I worked there too.
Yeah, that was a great place. And I remember the foreman we picked it. He was in the portal. We picked it up at the end of the year, beer party, picked it up and he opens the door, he's like 15 feet off the ground. And Huey Johnson and Stubby and me were in the car, and I don't drink beer. So Stewie and Huey Johnson were loaded, and they had to stop at the rest area there. So I stop at the rest area, they go in, and I figure, well, I'm gonna play a game with them. Had a 73 Chevy Vega.
Yeah.
And I'm having them chase me. I'm keep running ahead. Well, Stubby runs up my trunk hood, does a dance on the roof and jumps down on the hood and stands up and says, "There, you son of a bitch," with no teeth, and it's and I didn't say another word all the way home. All I could picture was my roof caving in. I got home, there was nothing wrong with it.
All right,
Pretty
Dale.
good.
Nice seeing you.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thanks, Dale.
We signed the warrants, right?
Sign the warrant, yeah.
Sign the warrants,
I move to adjourn.
I would second that.
All in favor?
Aye.